Okay, so if you're looking for an investment in 2012...
Who isn't?
Yeah, right. Well, forget companies with solid cash flow. Boring. Record earnings, so what? What may be a better names that are poised for a hard landing.
But how to play this? Well, here to tell us which ones and how to figure it out for your investment portfolio, Jeff Reeves. He's the editor of InvestorPlace.com. And you're going to talk specifically about a couple of stocks that you feel are poised to just... We keep showing the crash test video there.
Yeah, I keep
Looks
saying
like
that.
things don't look very good for some of these names. But before we reveal these names, you have to tell us, what's your criteria for picking names that you think are about to implode?
Well, I mean, if you look at the market today and basically for the past 6 months, I think sentiment kind of tells the story more than anything else. I mean, today, great jobs numbers, the market goes down. It's all about what people are feeling. Not to sound all touchy-feely, but, you know, one of the metrics that I think is an important thing for investors to look at is short interest, particularly the percent of the float of a company that's held on the downside. And some of the companies that I've been looking at lately sometimes is a little obscene. They have, you know, maybe 14 million shares outstanding and 7 million of them are held short of the float. I mean, that's pretty substantial. So the bears, they really are focusing on these stocks. And you know, I'm not saying that Wall Street is always right. We know things can go wrong. Sometimes there's a short squeeze, and then all the traders have to cover. One of the stocks I'm going to talk about, I think that actually did happen to recently. But, you know, you got to realize that many people are betting against these kind of companies. I mean, a lot of people bet against Sears, and Sears flopped. Believe it or not, a lot of people made money on that trade. You just got to know which companies, you know, people are betting against and kind of get in on the action.
Exactly. Well, Jeff, let's get this started in 3 stocks. Let's begin with Barnes & Noble, which you call, quote, the no-brainer short sale of the century.
Yeah, and to be clear, I called it the no-brainer short of the century a couple weeks ago. Shameless plug on InvestorPlace.com. I said back in December it was going to go down the tubes because fundamentally, I mean, it's banking on the Nook, or at least it was banking on the Nook and e-commerce with electronic book sales. You know, it had seen some fundamental improvement with its revenue numbers. It was looking to maybe cut its loss for fiscal 2012 by 2/3, but that was wholly on the growth of the Nook and its ebook business. So, you know, I was kind of the mind that Amazon's got the low end of the market, the Apple's got the high end of the market, the Nook's not going to be able to break through. So it was a short then. I mean, if it was a short with the Nook, without the Nook, I mean, what has it got going for it?
Well,
you know?
and again, let's be clear. You called that before they said they were going to spin off the Nook. Okay, so let's move over to the next one. And this is one who hasn't seen the commercials or the people in the malls pushing this, SodaStream. And we've got the CEO on there, and the stock has done unbelievably well. This is a company where you can make your own Sprite and Tab and you know, Pepsi.
And fancy alcoholic beverages for the adults, don't forget.
I won't. What's wrong with this one?
The CEO's a great guy. Actually, when I wrote my column about it, he emailed me personally. I think a guy who does his own company PR, I mean, I give the guy credit for that. But,
absolutely.
I mean, fundamentally, you got to understand that, I mean, not to be crass, but like the Foreman grill, the Magic Bullet, a lot of these kitchen gadgets, people go out there and they use for a couple months, they sell it at a garage sale. So, you know, it's not that I think SodaStream has a bad product. Maybe they do. But Green Mountain has proven to us that just because you have growth in a kitchen gadget like the Keurig, I mean, eventually you hit a wall, you plateau. So, you know, I don't really think that SodaStream has that much more to grow. The partnership with Kraft that was just announced is a big deal. You did see some, what I think, short covering because some of the traders decided they wanted to get out on that. But more than half of the float is short interest in this, and I think that's more to do with the pop in shares, pardon the pun, than any real long-term faith in the company.
All right, let's go to the last one that you mentioned here, Jeff. It's Zagg, Z-A-G. It's a small-cap stock. This is a company that makes a protective covering for consumer electronics. What's wrong with that?
Skins. Just call them what they are, baby.
Yeah, well, and to be full disclosure on this one, it is a smaller company. I think it's only about a $200 million market cap, so people have to be aware of that before we even talk about it. It's a smaller company that can have a lot more wiggle, so just to be above board with that. But, you know, Zagg, it's an acronym for Zealous About Great Gadgets. It tries to sell those little protective sleeves to people. But you and I both know, when we walk through the mall, go see those kiosks with Justin Bieber photos, and they're pink for your iPhone or your iPad. Yeah. I mean, it's not like there's a high barrier to entry to this market. Kudos to Zagg. They've seen their profits and their revenue go through the roof. I mean, I think revenue has quintupled since 2008. But, I mean, let's be realistic on this one. Anybody who has plastic and the designs for the iPad can come up with a similar type of product. So, you know, I appreciate their growth. I just don't think there's much more after that. I think Zagg's outkicked the coverage on this one.
Okay, so we put it on the screens, SodaStream, Zagg, and Barnes & Noble, and you can make money betting against stocks. We always try and let our viewers know this versus just buying them. Thank you, Jeff.
Careful of the short squeeze, though. Careful of the short squeeze.
Yeah, can happen to anybody.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jeff. Jeff
Happy New Year,
Reeves.
guys.
Come back
Same
again
here.
when you get more names. We like this.
I will.